Passion. You probably heard this word before, and it means, something that you really want to do. Well, before I get started, let me give you the definition from Google. There's two definitions. The first one is passion means a strong and barely controllable emotion. The second one is an intense desire or enthusiasm for something. We're going to be talking about mainly the second one. So it says an intense desire or enthusiasm for anything in the world. Now, this, to me, it doesn't say time, how long you should be passionate or have passion for this or that. I feel like in today's world, we're always trying to find our passion, always trying to find something to do, something for a career, something that we should do for 25 years and retire, right? But when in reality, passions come and go, you know. Yes, there's some people out there that have a passion and it's for life, but there's a lot of people that, have a passion for a certain job or a certain idea and they go do it, then they switch. For example, let's say I want to go into cybersecurity, right? I go in there, I work there, I go into that industry, do some cool stuff for like 5, 10 years. Afterwards, I'm like, you know what? I want to go do machining. I want to go do CNC machining and make parts, right? Now, what I did there is just change careers, and I feel like a lot of people get stuck in the thinking of I choose this passion and I'm gonna go down it and I'm gonna keep down the path. When in reality, in life, there's a bunch of paths, This path could lead to an area where I stay at for 15 years, then a new path emerges and I go down that one. I feel like in life the experience comes from the journey, The life part comes from the journey, right? Because when you have a passion for something, you put it out into the world. You do something, you create something, and the world kind of responds back. And if it responds back good, then it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. It's kind of, in a sense, passion is kind of how you view things, right? Because I could have a completely different passion from you or the next person, right? Let's say I could like farming, but the next person likes IT, working in technology, right? That's what makes the world kind of works, Everyone has a different passion. And I feel like in today's, social media culture and, hyper information spread across TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat, there's a lot of jobs out there and people are exposed to a lot of jobs, And in a sense, when you're exposed to a lot of options, you get overwhelmed, right? I feel like that's why nowadays going to college and picking a career straight out of high school is kind of overwhelming, right? Because, back in the day, for example, after the World Wars, there was jobs and there was areas, industries that need people. And since social media was around, some people only figured out about certain jobs through word of mouth or through the news, right? That's how people kind of got hired through like, hey, I'm hiring in the lumber industry or the metalworking industry, right? And you go down that path. If you don't like it, some people might switch out, some might not. It's kind of how you view the world. If you view the world as, well, if I go down this path, there's no turning back, then you're going to go down that path and kind of not turn back. It's all about mindset. That's what it kind of boils down to is how you view the world, how you view passion. And I feel like, let's take sport players, for example. Most of the reason why people don't make it to the NBA, and since the NBA has such a high skill ceiling or skill gap between NBA and college basketball, is because of passion, right? It's an intense desire to do something. And players, some players make it to the NBA, they have short careers, but they made it, right? Some players like the GOATs or LeBron or, you know, what I mean by the GOATs, I mean like Michael Jordan, LeBron, Steph Curry, Kobe, all the big names you heard before that have long lasting careers, or any person that has a long impact career. All those players have had huge amounts of passion. They wanted to do something. They wanted to change the way the game was played. They had an emotion to play. It was uncontrollable, right? And I feel like it's something they couldn't stop thinking about. And I kind of think that's what it boils down to. What's something in your life that you can't stop thinking about? Now, obviously, some of you out there might think, oh, just can't stop thinking about watching TikTok and watching Instagram. Well, I'm not talking about TikTok or Instagram. I'm talking about something that you want to do, right? Um, and some of you might say, well, I want to do my hobby, but I never heard, people always say don't work your hobby as a job or else you get burnt out. Now, I have two kind of arguments, or one argument against that, right? And it's if you don't want to work a job or don't want to do your hobby for a job and just do it as a hobby on the side of a main job, you're not going to be happy, right? Because doing a hobby, not doing your hobby as a main thing, is not going to make you happy because a hobby is something that you really, really want to do. But at the same time, I get it. You might be scared of burnout or never liking your hobby again. Now, here's what I say to that. I say, if you have a hobby out there, work on your hobby. Work in your hobby's industry, right? And if you get burnt out, you get burnt out. You take a break. Go find a different career, right? That's what life is about. Life is about finding out new stuff to do, finding new interesting ideas. And if you get burnt out on a hobby, that's okay. That's kind of part of the process, right? Because, let's say, for example, artistic burnout. That means you just can't think of more ideas. A lot of these people, what makes them come back to doing art again is by taking a break and finding something else that they love, right? If I was a famous painter or writer and if I had burnout and I couldn't think of anything, I would go and take a vacation and after that come back, find a different industry to work in to gain new knowledge, new ideas, and then come back 5, 10 years later and continue on it, right? It's burnout's a real thing and it's become more often recently, and I would say that's probably because of social media, right? Because you see all these different jobs. Everyone wants to do social media, right? And that's why people kind of get burned out because they're comparing themselves to other people. And when you compare yourself, you are kind of throwing away what you want to do in a sense, right? Because when you compare yourself to something, you want that other thing. When you know in reality the thing that you want is right in front of you, but you're kind of going for a different thing. I don't know if that made sense. It makes sense in my head, but that is kind of a hard topic to explain without having some type of experience or living life in a sense. But passion, everyone has it. Everyone has something in their head that they can't stop thinking about or can't stop thinking about doing this activity or doing something. Sometimes it's good or bad, but if you are afraid to do a hobby, don't be. Because if you do the hobby and something goes bad, well, you can learn from it, right? I kind of need to take my own advice on this and just do it. Don't be afraid of the failure or mistakes. Don't be afraid of what your family tells you. Even the closest people in your life, they will hate on it. People will, always kind of doubt you in a sense. Even if it's indirect, even if they say, "Oh, I'm not going to doubt you," they they do in a sense, but it's indirectly, not directly, right? And I kind of say, it's your life. Do what you want to do. Don't be afraid of the consequences. You're going to learn from them, And if it's something bad, like really bad, well, don't do it again, you know? This is what life is about, learning. And so, I don't know. Do your passion. Go out there, do something that you can't get your mind off of. And if you do it and then your mind's off of it, we'll move on to the next thing, right? Move on to the next adventure, next path, next journey. You know, your life, the life that you want to live is coming from you. It's coming from inside of you. And when you put that life essence or those ideas out into the world, it kind of rebounds back into you, and then you kind of get that passion in a sense. And I think that's what life is, you know? You put out what you want to do into the world, it rebounds back into you. You really see how it is, and then you kind of decide if you like it or not. So, I say go do your passion. Don't be afraid of the consequences. Don't be afraid of people who doubt you. There's always going to be someone there doubting you, no matter where you are, because they're jealous. And I need to take my own advice on that. I think everyone should, in a sense. All right. I hope every single one of you has a good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. I hope every single one of you can find peace in your lifetime.